What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is the end of Monday, October 18th, which means if you're listening, it's probably Tuesday, October 19th. It's also the end of week 6 as it's come to a close with the Titans, the Tennessee Titans, the Fighting Mike Vrabels, taking down the Buffalo Bills 34-31 in Nashville. We go to John Breech live on this. No, John Breech is in the basement. Never mind. What's up, Breech? Ryan Wilson at Breech here. How are we doing?
Yeah, Breech, how was your Titans coverage from 10 miles outside the stadium?
Should have gotten Jordan Ajani on instead of Breech.
Well, if I didn't have to be on this podcast, I could have.
Couldn't hear you
on
over
the
the ducking.
podcast, I could have gone to the game.
Nobody believes that.
Here you guys are demanding my time.
By the way,
Anyway.
Brinson, this is the same guy that traveled 45 minutes to go hear T.O.'s Hall of Fame speech at a destination that wasn't Canton, Ohio, but he can't go to the stadium to watch arguably the biggest game in the Titans season. Okay.
I will say it would be kind of a pain to drive down there because you're 30 minutes away, right?
No, Mike. I don't know how far I am.
Interesting.
What do you mean you don't know how far you are from the city?
He doesn't want to give out.
We have a CBS Sports person there. Why would we have two? We sent someone. You don't need to double up.
There's a guy who loves his job.
I guess you would have to sit in a press box with a mask on for like 4 hours. That doesn't really sound appealing, to be honest.
I go to Syracuse football games because that's my job, Breech.
That sounds Miz.
It's not terrible. I love my job, so I go there. So
you're like sitting in the Carrier Dome for 4 hours watching.
Well, and I love talking to
Orange
you guys, so
or
that's why
Fast
I'm
is the new
here
Orange or
and not
whatever?
at the game.
different strokes. All right, what happened in this game?
Okay, so huge win for massive win for the Titans. They are now 4-2. Also 4-2, the Buffalo Bills. This is the second year in a row that the Titans have beaten the Bills in a primetime game. It feels like 45 billion years ago. But last year, in 2020, the 2020 season, the Bills actually lost to the Titans on a Tuesday. I believe the first ever Tuesday game. Anyway, or maybe it wasn't the first ever Tuesday game, but you get the point. This was a fascinating and fun game. And by the way, if you're watching right now on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're someone who's watching us live on YouTube, bang that like button. I got Debo telling me when people don't do it. We're going to have a Super Friends mailbag, by the way. So you can, we'll get to that in a second. But you can also turn on the alerts in YouTube. There's a little bell. So after you hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll get alerts when we go live. I haven't actually gotten mine, I don't think. I have mine turned on.
Hit the bell notification.
I have the bell notification on. We are live on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights, and we also are going to go try to go live for our Best Bets show at 1 p.m. on Thursday. Be glad we didn't go live this past week. We were terrible. But the reason why we can't go live right now is because Pete Prisco is a old corncob husk who can't figure out technology and refuses to adapt to the modern ways.
Interesting.
Yes.
He doesn't have the internet. That's the problem. He
He's got
literally
some
writes his best bets on a piece of mail, sends it to Brinson via USPS, and then Brinson reads it out in his Prisco voice on the podcast.
He is awkwardly obsessed with the best bets. Like, I think I went over this week, and he let me know.
Yeah, you're having a tough go of it this season.
I mean, I will say, Brinson,
The last 3 weeks have been very bad for me.
Very bad. Like Jacksonville Jaguars bad.
I don't even want to read his against the
Let's
spread
not.
record on the air.
We'll turn it around. I mean,
oh my
every
ooh.
yeah, let's not talk about it. Every single favorite won this week. This is supposed to be the dog week, except of course the Titans, who I had the Bills naturally. This is the one dog that won. All of these favorites pulled off these this road chalk one. I thought it was gonna be Wilson's demise. It turns out it was actually my demise because I took all the dogs. Didn't work out for me. We're gonna be doing if you want to ask about my terrible picks or ask about Wilson's plus EV methodology for determining who he picks against the spread, we are going to be doing a mailbag, which means go to Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star review with the question attached, and we will answer your question. It can be about anything football related, trade deadline, in season, contender, pretender, whatever you want. Hair plugs, Breech's weird fascination with a team from Cincinnati,
And cats.
giveaways. Oh, Well, we're going to do it again tonight. What? I didn't realize this. We are going to give away another Brinson Sucks hat.
We have more?
Debo found
Tebow
his
has one he's going to give away. That reminds me. I got to get
We'll have
mine.
to keep mine. Are we giving that away?
So if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can. Oh, we're not giving yours away. This hat, there's like 5 of these available anywhere. If we get to 100 likes on this video, Debo will send his I gotta tell you, if Debo's sending a Brinson Sucks hat to somebody that he owns, it means he wants it to happen. Because Debo probably has that pinned up on his wall, since he does in fact hate me and despise me. But 100 likes, we will give away and hit a like, and in the comments in the YouTube video, hit or write your Twitter handle or some contact form, and we will get you a Brinson Sucks hat. As I said, 34-31, Titans over the Bills. This game was crazy because there were 3 points scored in the first quarter with a massive total of 53. Obviously, the over hit. They scored 52 points in the second and third quarters. The second quarter was bananas.
Did the over hit?
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Bananas.
Derrick Henry finished the game. He's on a heater right now. 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen, very good in this game as well. 35 for 47, 353, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Stephon Diggs kind of had the breakout game that we're looking for. 9 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown, but not really. Looking for an explosion game from him. More distribution from Allen in this game than anything else. Emmanuel Sanders, 5 catches, 91 yards, and Cole Beasley, 7 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown as well. The AJ Brown came back from his food poisoning thing. It was really quiet for almost the whole first half, and then picked up steam. 7 catches, 91 yards, did not score. Ryan Tannehill did not have a passing touchdown. Julio Jones suffered an injury in this game and didn't return. 3 catches for 59 yards before he left, including a crazy off the defender's helmet diving 2-handed grab by Julio. What did we think about the end of game stuff? Because the Titans scored. The Bills scored a touchdown and got a 2-point conversion on a Dawson Knox pass to Josh Allen with 31 seconds left in the third quarter. The Titans got a fat Randy field goal with 9:49 left in the fourth quarter to cut it to 31-27. And then we're getting down close, and there was definitely some people wondering if Mike Vrabel was going to kick a field goal to cut it to 1. Didn't matter because Derrick Henry busted through for a 13-yard touchdown, his third, obviously, to make it 34-31.
Mike Vrabel wouldn't have kicked a field goal there.
I would like to think not, but
that's not his MO, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
Nick Costas hates him for some reason. I don't really get it. 34-31. At that point, the Bills get the ball with.
No, they returned the kick.
Oh, that's right.
Isaiah
returns the kick, but there's a
101 yards for a touchdown, but it gets called back.
I felt like it was definitely going to be a holding call, even if it was not necessarily fair.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's like it probably didn't maybe affect the play quite as much as
it was like borderline ticky tack. It was near McKenzie as he ran by him. I don't know if that guy was going to make the tackle.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it affected the actual return, but when you saw it happen, you knew they were going to throw the flag.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Waiting for Breech to dive in on special teams, obviously.
Well, I mean, they threw the flag, and the turn, you don't just lose the touchdown. It's that now you are starting this drive from inside your own 20-yard line. You know, a touchback, because he caught it 1 yard deep in his end zone. You start at your own 25, and now you're at your own 18. So you've got the deck stacked against you. But it really was crazy to see the Titans special teams collapse like that. But then it didn't matter because of this ticky-tack holding call.
Yeah, so it gets called back. Josh Allen goes 8 plays, 79 yards down to the Tennessee 3 he scrambles on third down, and I'm not actually sure how the distance was on third down.
It's 3rd and 6.
Thank you, Breech.
Third
and 6, you're right. He kind of gets suplexed as he's going for the first down, but
Superman dives for it, sort of gets hit underneath and turns. I will say this, I've never seen this camera angle before. I like the red line coming up from the yard marker so I could see where's that been all our life. And the refs actually got it right on the field. It was a half-yard short. They got it right. They noted during the telecast that Cole Beasley was open in the end zone, but Josh Allen had his mind set on going for it, and I understand it.
And then on 4th and 6 inches, really, it was really close. Allen lines up, and he's quarterback sneaking. Jeffrey Simmons, I'm watching it right now, actually on the replay, but Jeffrey Simmons gets great penetration, but more importantly, Allen slips and goes down and is short.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine with the Bills going there.
Yeah. I mean, what's the probability Josh Allen converts a 4th and 6 inches? It's 95%.
I mean, he slipped on the turf. Like his left foot slips and he just falls down. He doesn't get there.
Are you going for a breach or not? You have that look on your face.
I mean, I don't think it's 95%. He literally failed on 4th or on a 1-yard play earlier in the game when he was trying to score a touchdown from the 1-yard line. So,
all right. So what are you doing there?
He should have run it to the right.
I'm just saying he had already failed once in that situation. So this isn't Tom Brady QB sneak, which is like automatic. This is Josh Allen, who apparently didn't. Yeah, Tom Brady QB sneaks are automatic. Brinson. I don't know what that's 95%.
On 4th and goal, maybe. What are you talking about, Josh Allen? You would have. Go ahead. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking about when Tom Brady needs a yard, he can get it. And we saw Josh Allen.
You need a yard. You're taking Tom Brady over Josh Allen. That's criminal.
A Brady QB sneak. If I need a guy to QB sneak it, I'm taking Tom Brady, who never fails at this ever.
Anyway, are you kicking it there or not? Because
I am not kicking there. I do think they made the right call. Like, I love the field goals. I would love to have seen that game go to overtime because it was so crazy. And I'm not sure that the city of Nashville would still be standing if the game had gone to overtime because all these Bills fans were drinking in Nashville all day. The stadium was crazy. The fans were loud. It sounded like it was half Bills fans, half Titans fans. I mean, it was the right call. Because if you go to overtime, maybe you have a coin toss, or you do have a coin toss.
Yeah, you absolutely have a coin toss.
Maybe the Titans win that coin toss. And you know what? The Titans had basically moved the ball at will and scored on 7 of 8 possessions starting in the second quarter. So the Bills defense had done nothing to stop Tennessee. And so if you lose that coin toss, you're basically throwing the game away. Right. And Josh Allen getting 6 inches is your best chance.
Let me read our buddy Pete Prisco, who tweeted this, not surprisingly, after the game. The end of the game was a bastardization of clock management by both teams. Even if the Bills get the first down on the sneak, they have to use their last timeout. Then what? ? So I think the question, like the last 2 minutes coming down the field when the Bills started the 18 and the Titans weren't using their timeouts. And I was actually sort of okay with that because the Bills had to score a touchdown to win that game. And, the Bills weren't going to call a timeout because they wanted to run the clock down. I don't have any issue with the way the time management was over the last 2 minutes.
So I was listening to Josh Allen talk. First of all, Breech, yes, there's literally a coin flip in overtime.
That was like 5 minutes ago. Wilson already made a joke.
Karen Milky asked in the YouTube chat, who is most often correct, Breech, Brinson, or Wilson? I think my guess would be ask whoever. I'm not telling you, I'm watching Josh Allen talk to the reporters about that.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. No, Barrett. Thank you.
I would say ask whoever you ask probably thinks they're right the most.
I will say this. I guarantee you, yes, everyone thinks Brinson's last. That's the takeaway.
Savages.
The thing is, Breech is right about a lot of things, but then he has some crazy off the wall sort of theory that in people's minds makes him, no worse than second, but not always first. Brinson, without question, is always last.
But Breech is wrong, but he somehow disguises his incorrect answers and his incredible lies in these ways that make you believe that they might.
So anyway, while you were watching the Josh Allen presser, does anyone have any response to Prisco thinking clock management was an issue the last 2 minutes for either team?
I don't love. I thought Vrabel should have been calling his timeout sooner. And Steve Levy.
What about the idea of him just saying, well, let's make the Bills have to score a touchdown?
Yeah, I don't like that. Your defense is awful.
But they bit but didn't break. They had a ton of injuries in secondary.
I don't like coming back after it and saying, well, he did a dumb thing, but they got Josh Allen slipped on 4th and short, and so results over process.
I don't know if it was dumb. In the moment, I was like, I don't hate it. I know why you might call timeouts here, but I was like, all right, let's see how this goes.
It's very similar to the Super Bowl 49, where Belichick's not stopping the clock, and people are like, what? Like anybody, I don't know, anybody else, it's they're getting ripped for it. But Belichick is like, well, he's just trying to put the pressure on Pete Carroll.
Well, and the problem with, I thought Vrabel should have used a timeout, not even because of the time, but because his defense, they were on their heels. So you can say that Vrabel's trying to make the Bills think on their feet, but they clearly were thinking on their feet just perfectly because they drove 79 yards down the field in like 60 seconds.
They went 31 yards, 12 yards, 2-minute warning, 7 yards, 20 yards. Their guys running wide open. This defense is really confused. And at that point, I want to add, if you're Tennessee and you've been moving the ball as effectively as you have in the second half, I want to add time to the clock. So that way, if the Bills score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, I have the opportunity to go back and score myself. And if you call those timeouts, it's probably more than likely that I think the Bills would have been a little more methodical in their approach in terms of running the football instead of, and then now I didn't love what Sean McDermott did down in the red zone. They get 50 seconds left. They run Zach Moss up the middle. He gets 4 yards from the Tennessee 12. So he's at the 8. Buffalo calls a timeout. Incomplete pass from Josh Allen. And then the 3rd and 6 happens. And then Buffalo uses another timeout there. Tennessee also called a timeout. I would have, and then they tried the 4th down play. I would have preferred, if you're Buffalo, like I would have wanted the Bills to get down to the goal line with the plan in place that if it is 4th down, we're going to go, but we have 3 timeouts so we can stop the clock if we don't get it.
I'm fine. I mean, they still had 1 timeout after that. If they had gotten the 4th down, they would have had 1 timeout left.
No, but I mean, if you don't get the 4th down, I think that's only that's it. I mean, you ever say so?
Oh yeah,
you could potentially get the ball back,
with 12 seconds left or whatever in midfield.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess, but I'm not. You're not angry about it. You're just like, in a perfect world, you want that to happen.
Yeah, and the same thing with Vrabel. I think should have been calling the time. I mean, I get that it worked out for him, but Vrabel should have been calling those timeouts to save time for his team.
Do on some level like the idea because maybe, and look, I don't know. I'm sure the math says call the timeouts there, but there is some nuance to it depending on what's happening. Like, okay, from yard 18 to yard plus 15, the Bills dominated. Maybe Vrabel thought, okay, once we get into the tight area, I don't want them to go to the sidelines, have Dable just tell Josh Allen to do whatever he does and then go from there. And so I was looking at, as a neutral party, I was like, okay, let's see how this plays out. If I were the Steelers, for example, I would say, please call your freaking timeouts. But Mike Tomlin would have kicked if he were the Bills from 4th and 1 anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
and I mean, again, like, the other thing he did too was because they had the ball with about 3 minutes left and they were doing no huddle and they were running from shotgun and slinging the ball. So I agree. There's some nuance to it. It did feel like if you're Vrabel and your team's getting carved up for like an average of 15 yards per play, maybe squeeze a timeout, say, hey guys, this is what they're looking for. Someone like spy Josh Allen, these guys coming across the middle. I don't know, something like that. It just felt like a little too passive.
I do think that, and we won't know unless somebody asks Vrabel this after the game, but if this was,
do you know anyone who should have been there at the game that could have asked him the question in the post-game press conference?
Oh, up high, down
hard. Those are done by Zoom, and you can actually do them from home. Redunk.
Oh, he missed. He missed. Oh, he may have pulled a hamstring. Or
ironically, that was Fat Randy Bullock who kicked pretty well today.
All right, what's the question for the coach?
No. So here is. I think Vrabel probably calls a timeout if the score had been 34-30, and you know that if the Bills score a touchdown, you're going to need a field goal. Because I think he just felt like, hey, if we're going to get the ball with 20 seconds left, even if I use all my timeouts, we're probably not getting a touchdown, and we're going to overtime anyway. And I don't need to get someone out injured trying to throw a 70-yard Hail Mary that we're not going to complete. Even though somebody might say, well, Hail Mary has a 1% chance. It can also be picked off in return for a touchdown. and so I think he's thinking we're going to need a touchdown. It's probably not happening. Let's just keep their offense on their toes.
Or I mean, this is what I would be arguing if I were Vrabel in this situation and trying to breach my way out of this clock mismanagement. I would say that my game theory was I'm not calling timeouts. I'm going to let Sean McDermott call timeouts. And I want him to get in a situation where he has to decide, is he going to kick a field goal or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, because there was like right. But I mean, there was so little time left by the time they got down because the Bills were actively trying to melt clock. So that way the Titans couldn't come back.
Man,
and win the game.
that theory doesn't make sense because Vrabel did use his timeout right before the 4th down and literally gave McDermott a chance to decide what he wanted to do.
But they did that after they saw what the offense was doing.
Well, right, but when you call the timeout,
see the formation they were lined up.
You give McDermott a chance to think about what they're going to do. Like he could have said, you know what, let's kick the field goal. Or, you know what, let's change the play because we saw their
the offense was out there. So if he was hoping they would kick a field goal, then
right. But I'm saying by Vrabel calling the timeout, he literally did the opposite of what you said. He gave McDermott and the Bills time to figure out what they're going to do.
What are you talking about?
That you were saying.
No, I'm saying that he wanted the clock to run down as much as possible. I'm not saying this. I agree with this. I'm saying this is what the game theory I would have argued is. I want the clock to run down as much as possible, so the Bills know that this play is going to decide the game. That they can either, you're giving them a choice, like you can kick a field goal or go for it. And if you think they're going for it and running, I mean, I didn't love the play call with I didn't love the play call with the sneak to the left side with Simmons lined up there. I actually need to go back and look and see, was Simmons lined up was he lined up on that side originally?
Yeah, feels like pre-snap. Yeah.
I would say before the timeout by Vrabel. Like, did they adjust anything from the pre timeout to the post timeout? And you know what? Josh Allen probably gets it if he doesn't slip.
Maybe. I mean, I'm quite comfortable with Josh Allen going for it every time in that situation.
Sure.
Even over Tom Brady.
I would have bootlegged. Wrong. I would have bootlegged. Brady thing is erroneous.
By the way,
I would have bootlegged him out and had him waltz into the end zone.
Someone who had a much better running night, Derrick Henry. 3rd time this year he's had 3 touchdowns in a game.
That's crazy. His last. So coming into this game, over his last 4 games, he had 3 touchdown rushes. He also had 582 yards on 125 carries. Coming into this game, that was on pace for 500 carries and 2,328 rushing yards over his last 4 games. He didn't really have a good first game. He is putting up enormous numbers. Is it sustainable? Can the Titans make a playoff run? We'll tell you after the break. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what is the catch? But after talking with them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. Somehow, there's not one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. By cutting out retail stores, there's no crazy overhead costs that get passed down to you in the form of mystery fees. Instead, Mint just passes on those sweet savings directly to you. And we all know if you got a phone bill, we're all married. We got people. It's not just one phone bill. Your wife's got a phone bill too. Ryan's kids got phone bills these days because they're old enough for them. So why not save some cash? And that's why Mint Mobile's so great for people looking for extra savings. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with your contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. If you want that $15 a month deal and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/pick6, PICKSIX. That's mintmobile.com/pick6. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/pick6. And now, a word from our other sponsor.
The whole story. It has everything. Guns, injustice, murder. Oh, God!
Who are you?
Beth Burgess. I'm a journalist.
So I'm going to talk first. I got nothing. The Tennessee Titans.
Here, let me follow up quickly on Derrick Henry. We were talking about that before the break. Yeah. So there was a point in the game, I think it was in the first half, where he stiff-armed Mario Addison into the turf. 253-pound Mario Addison. I think it was like a 3-yard loss or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And to Mario Addison's credit, he just stood up and walked back to the huddle. Like he wasn't going to celebrate with the rest of his teammates on the 3-yard tackle for loss for Derrick Henry. But the biggest loser of this game, Josh Norman sitting at home, minding his own business, and they showed the replay of him getting stiff armed to oblivion at least 15 times right after that play. And I'm sure, Josh, it was tough. It was tough. But again, Derrick Henry is a problem.
Yeah, he's a huge problem. He could potentially lead the league in rushing 3 consecutive years in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He's just a monster.
And he's like reversed physical conditioning compared to everyone else on the field. Everyone else gets more tired as the game wears on and gets to the fourth quarter. It's like Derrick Henry is harnessing all of their energy and then using it to stiff arm them out of the universe. I mean, it's insane watching him play in the fourth quarter. And I mean, the 13-yard touchdown run where we were talking about maybe the Titans should have used more time. They couldn't because Derrick Henry, the Bills couldn't tackle him. He just went straight up for a 13-yard score. That's the one that gave the Titans the lead. If he gets tackled 5 yards down the field, the Bills or the Titans could burn off more clock, but the Bills couldn't tackle him. It was just, it was almost hilarious watching the Bills trying to tackle Derrick Henry.
So now I do have questions about, so last year through 6 games, Derrick Henry had 143 carries.
Yeah.
In 2019 through 6 games, Derrick Henry had 113 carries. Oh, my Lord. Debo says he's 25-1 to win MVP. He ain't gonna win that MVP.
Ooh.
That's fine.
Ooh, saucy. They better win the division, according to Breech.
He had 142 carries coming into tonight and added another 20 carries. He is at 162 carries 6 weeks into the season. I feel like the only person, maybe on planet Earth, frankly, that you like normally if a running back was at 160 carries right now, we would be screaming, this guy's going to get hurt. This is going to end poorly. You need to save him for later in the season because you're going to need him to be dominant. And with Derrick Henry, it just feels like it doesn't matter.
Right. We talk about the curse of 300 for years.
370
last 15 years, and he seems impervious to that. Because after he signed the contract, we're like, all right, well, let's see what happens. Hey, he's the same dude. But as Breech noted, he's also 7'4" and weighs 450 pounds. So maybe he's just built differently.
I mean,
by the way,
okay, sure.
I was going to say, so if you could line up Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, Devin Duvernay, who was a sprint, he ran the 100 in Texas, Henry Ruggs, and Derrick Henry to run a 100-yard dash, who are you taking?
Probably the not 7'4", 250-pound guys.
Derrick
Henry's really fast.
So far this season is the fastest person according to Next Gen Stats. 21.8 miles an hour to the 76-yard touchdown run, which is 2/100ths of a second faster than Henry Ruggs' 51-yard touchdown, which I can only imagine was against the Steelers.
All right, so let's say hypothetically you can choose between never having to podcast on this show again, or you have to tackle Derrick Henry moving at his maximum speed.
Yeah, that's sort of the question we had last year. I think someone asked that in the mailbag. Saquon was the guy at the time.
Micah Hyde actually had to answer that question during this game, and you could see his eyes light up and thinking, my God, how did I get myself in this position? And he got he got trucked, but he made the tackle. Henry went down, and Hyde probably doesn't remember the play because I'm sure he blacked out afterwards.
I don't know. Like, if you go low, you're going to get concussed. He's going to knee you in the head. If you go high, he's going to stiff arm you to the stands.
Well, you also have the concern of, yeah, smash that like button, people. I'm trying to give away a Brinson sucks hat. You also have the concern of if you make a business decision, you're getting clowned for eternity. But wouldn't you rather not end up like Josh Norman? Josh Norman's tackle, and you could just get absolutely destroyed.
Josh Norman's head is still attached to his body, so there's something to be said for going high.
He got destroyed and embarrassed.
And that's the other thing. It's more embarrassing when your team loses. Like last year, not only did Josh Norman get stiff armed out of this dimension, but they lost by like 30 points. And the same thing tonight. The stiff arms are more memorable when Derrick Henry wins.
Sure. Usually the stiff arms only happen in Derrick Henry wins because he's just built up so much steam. I mean, do you think it's just at some point they have to reel him in a little bit, right?
What they do last year. Let's see.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to say no, they do not.
Well, Well, they didn't reel him in last year. They cranked him up last year because they started him out slow. Well, he had 31 carries early in the season. But so from week 4 to week 9, by the way, the Titans in those games went 3-3. He averaged under 20 carries a game.
Yep.
I
And then the
think
final,
you have to sort of try to start meandering your way to that. And tonight was huge. You get a win against a really good Bills team, and he only has 20 carries and has a monster game.
the
That's
final
what you
month of the
want.
season, it was about 25 carries a game, though. And
Correct.
the
Well, and
final,
also I think a big part of that's going to be how Ryan Tannehill's playing. Ryan Tannehill was so bad in the first half, 4-12, that even if the Titans wanted to be throwing the ball, they're like, you know what, scrap that. We're going to go ahead and give it to Derrick back here because he's not going to fumble it. He's probably going to get 5 yards per carry, and Tannehill can't complete a pass to save his life. And so I think that's going to dictate a little bit, especially because the Titans receivers have been dealing with injuries. We saw Julio. He wasn't playing at all in the fourth quarter, which raised some eyebrows. Then we found that was a hamstring injury. We mentioned the A.J. Brown food poisoning. He did not catch a single pass in the first half. Brinson, you mentioned his stats, 7 catches for 91 yards. All of that was in the second half. So, if those guys disappear in spurts, the Titans are thinking, all right, well, I guess we just go to Derrick 10 times in a row.
The other thing, so the final 4 games of the season last year, Derrick Henry averaged 27 carries a game and 177 rushing yards a game.
My God.
and the final game, he had 34 carries for 250 and change.
Yeah, and the final year before that, he went 32 carries for 211 yards.
So I think the lesson is he needs to get the ball more.
Well,
Not
yes, but they're going to have to. He can't carry it 450 times.
Let's see. I want to see what happens if he does. I would imagine he looks
They paid him, and he loves running the ball. I would guess that the Titans look at this season and believe that if they can sort of get through, so next week, short week, obviously, they have the Chiefs at home. There, you do not hold back with Derrick Henry against the Chiefs.
No.
You uncork Derrick Henry against the Chiefs, and then the following week on Halloween, they're at the Colts.
You got to win that game.
You don't hold back on, because if you can somehow find a way to run Derrick Henry 30 times per game in those next 2 games, you feel like you've got a good lock on the division, and you can maybe ease him up in this November stretch where you got the Texans, the Patriots, and the Jaguars. And
That's why this win was enormous, because the Colts look great. If they lose, they're 3-3 and 2-4. You mentioned the Chiefs next week. I mean, you would imagine the Chiefs going to be favored. I don't know where the game is, by 6.5 points or whatever. And then it's the Titans-Colts matchup. So this is a huge win for Tennessee. I thought the Colts had sort of worked their way back into it. And now I actually feel a lot better about the Titans. But again, I said yesterday on the Sunday Night Podcast, the Titans were secretly terrible because they lost to the Jets and played like crap against the Jaguars. And here they come and ball out, in part because Breech notes that Tannehill struggled early, so they leaned on the running back. And then the defense played out of its mind against, one of the best offenses and quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well,
So
and that's what happened.
real
Quick, in that Jets loss, that's what happened, is where Derrick Henry would offer 157 yards, and you think if Derrick Henry's rushing for 157 yards, there's no way the Titans are losing, but Tannehill struggled. So, if Tannehill doesn't get his act together, and we saw him get his act together in the second half, that offense is unstoppable if Tannehill's playing his A game and Derrick Henry's doing what he's been doing all season. So, but if it's not that way, if Tannehill's struggling, then they can lose to the Jets. So he's got to play better.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets loss is a really bad one, because you just take care of business against the Jets, and you're 5-1. I mean,
5-1.
with a terrible defense. So Tennessee, to me, these next 4 games are really, really interesting. Chiefs at home, at the Colts, at the Rams, Saints at home. If the Titans can go 3-1 there, I feel like they will take the division pretty handily. That seem fair?
Well, I mean, Debo's guy Carson Wentz is balling out. We'll see.
It's a big ass.
I almost made an inappropriate hand gesture on the screen.
Oh yeah, you could do it underneath the
What
table.
do you think they do? Do you think they go 3-1, or you're just saying if they go 3-1?
If they go 3-1, I think they probably go 2-2 in that stretch, but I do think they'll beat the Colts.
I think they'll go. When I saw the Bills Chiefs stretch, I thought they would win one of the two, but I didn't know which one. And now that they've beaten the Bills, I do not think they're going to beat the Chiefs. But
I don't either. But Taylor Lewan's big too. Now Derrick Henry ran fairly well without Lewan out there, but it was noticeable difference. The Chiefs Chiefs can't stop anybody.
Well, the problem is that Kyler,
Patrick Mahomes.
no,
Ryan
Caleb
Tannehill.
Christian Fulton got hurt. Their cornerback who didn't even play, and then the first round pick from
Caleb
Virginia Tech,
Farley.
Caleb Farley. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. He also went out.
Kyler Murray is where you're going with Caleb Farley.
No, I was going to go Kyle Fuller. I was going to say Kyle Fuller. Caleb Farley. So their 2 second round, first round cornerbacks last 2 years are out. The guy they brought in had a tough afternoon for a little bit. He almost had an interception, and Janoris Jenkins knocked it out of his hands, and he made some plays down the stretch, but he struggled early on. So that's going to be a huge issue as well, especially with Patrick Mahomes coming into town.
Yeah, I mean, find a way to scrap out 3 wins. Look, I think they'll go 2-2. Maybe 1-3 would be tough because
nobody had them winning this game. It was 5.5, and we all thought it was going to be a bloodbath.
Correct.
The only person to pick Tennessee to even cover the spread, ironically enough, was Pete Prisco.
That's right. He said an emotional letdown for them after the Bills prep for that Chiefs game. Big time. Trust me. I know. Josh Allen is my guy. Why? I'll tell you. The Colts are relevant here because they're chasing the Titans. They are at San Francisco. Then they play the Titans at home. But then, and this is kind of key for me. I think, is that, oh yeah, that's a Thursday. Oh my God. Thursday night football game. Colts Jets.
Yes.
Oh my God. What are you doing, NFL? But the Colts have the Jets and the Jaguars in back-to-back weeks. So if the Colts Titans game is basically the division hangs in the balance, I feel like.
And there's no second place team from the West, from the South going to the playoffs.
No, I wouldn't think so. But now after those 2 games, by the way, they have the Bills and the Buccaneers. So the Colts need to go 3-1. Like that's going to be the flip game is the Colts Titans second game. And if the Titans, that's the whole point of this is you unleash Derrick Henry on the Chiefs and on the Colts and worry about everything else later down the road. For the Bills, they're still in first place.
Huge loss for the Patriots yesterday. Huge
loss in overtime to the Cowboys. Of course, the Bills are in first place by 2 games. I thought it was interesting that in his post-game press conference, while I was checked out, that Josh Allen mentioned how they suffered a really tough, close loss to the Cardinals last year, the Hail Murray or whatever, right before their bye. Do you know what their post-bye record was?
Yeah, because I'm looking at it. I was going to say it if you didn't. Breech, do you know what it was?
They won everything.
How many?
6, 5,
8.
8.
Well, they won 6 regular season games, 2 playoff games.
Oh, there we go.
Lost.
Thank you, Brinson. I was correct. Thank you, Wilson. You didn't ask for regular season and playoffs.
You did say 4 numbers, but
is that because the Bengals never go to the playoffs? You don't count that?
Oh, by the way, thoughts and prayers to Dickie V, one of our patron saints of the Dunks, that he's got a lymph node cancer, so hopefully he gets better quickly.
Hope he dunks on cancer.
Yeah, and you know what? During that streak of 8 consecutive wins that you guys were mentioning, one of the teams they beat was the Baltimore Ravens, and they were probably the biggest winner in the AFC because with this loss, there's only one team that's 5-1 in the AFC, which seems impossible to believe. Like, there's not even undefeated teams. There's only one 5-1 team, and then everybody else is just in this total bag of chaos. So, now the Ravens are in the driver's seat for that number 1 seed, which is obviously way important since there's only one bye.
I was actually thinking about that when it looked like the game was going back and forth on Monday night. So who's your team? You have one team you can pick in the AFC right now to represent the conference. Who are you taking?
Bills.
Breech?
Bills.
Really?
Bills are my preseason Super
for
Bowl.
Bengals.
I mean, you look at their schedule after this. They come out of the bye.
This is a laugh riot. How easy?
Yeah. Are you gonna?
No, go ahead. I looked at it earlier today.
So obviously, it's gonna suck that they're gonna go into this bye after this crazy loss, after blowing it on 4th and 1. But when they come out of that bye, they face Miami. They face Jacksonville. They face the New York Jets. That's their first 3 games.
Do you remember when we
Jags,
used to say
Jets.
that we used to say that the AFC East was slanted because the Patriots are always going to win 6 games? Now it's the Bills to get to win those 6 games.
Yeah,
and that's 3 gimmies. So now you're 7-2. I mean, it would be shocking. They
2-1 would be a disaster in those 3 games.
Right. And they will probably be double-digit favorites in all 3 of those games, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're probably 7-2, and then after that, you go where they have 8 games left. I can't do the math with 17 anymore. You go 6-2 down the stretch, you're 13-4. Boom. And
They have one. What's the week 14 game? That's a tough game. I can't remember who it's against.
Buccaneers, I believe.
Is that it?
Yep. At Tampa.
Is that their only tough game?
They're at Saints in week 12 as well. It's so they have out of the bye Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets, Colts. Really friendly 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Then Saints, Pats, Buccaneers, not so friendly. And then they close with Panthers, Pats, Falcons, Jets.
Okay. So
but wait, to answer Wilson's question, the Buccaneers and Saints are the only 2 games they have left against teams who are currently over 500.
Correct.
And the Saints might not be after this week.
They
So it might be
won't
only
be
one.
favored in Tampa.
No.
Assuming full health for everybody.
Yeah, no.
But they'll be favored in every other game. I believe they'll be favored in New Orleans too.
Okay, so you guys, I'm going to push back a little bit because the Ravens have a 1-game lead on them. And this is the Ravens schedule. It's not as easy as the Bills schedule. They played the Bengals in Baltimore.
Loss.
For whom?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, then they have their bye. They play the Vikings at home in Baltimore, at Miami, at Chicago.
Should be 4-0 right there.
The Browns in Baltimore, at Steelers.
4-0, 5-0, 6-0.
at Cleveland, Packers at home,
Mm.
at the Bengals, the Rams, and the Steelers to end it. So this schedule's a little more difficult, but I don't think it's immeasurably difficult. I mean, they still have that 1-game lead. So I think I might take the Ravens. I love the Bills, but I might take the Ravens.
I don't have a problem with that. The division for the Bills is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I'd rather play the Packers than the Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, especially Packers at home versus Buccaneers on the road. I mean, we're a long way out from this. Obviously, tons of stuff can happen, but I do think we have a pretty good idea about some of these teams that they're playing.
And by the way, both these teams are going to the playoffs. We were just talking about who's going to be the best.
Well, what makes this important, by the way, is that if the Bills and the Ravens have really good schedules down the stretch, like conducive schedules for winning football games, that is going to make it almost impossible for the Chiefs to come back and steal the number 1 seed, I believe.
Oh, yeah, especially since they're currently in last place in their division.
And they lost to both of these teams.
They're not stealing the number 1 seed.
Right, but I mean, the number 1 seed is a huge deal because you get the first round bye.
There's hey Debo, how hard is it to pull the Super Bowl odds? I wonder if the Chiefs are they favorites? I didn't know how people were.
Oh no, the Bills were the Super Bowl favorites going into tonight. It was the first time that neither the Chiefs or the Bucs had been a favorite since the Super Bowl odds for this year started.
The Buccaneers and the Bills are currently favored 5.5 to 1 at Caesars.
But I'm sure that was after the Bills lost. So before the loss, they were the top favorite.
Well, the presumption was they'd be 5-1 with a win over Tennessee going to the bye.
I love the Ravens at 10 to 1.
No.
I'd like a little more bang for my buck than 10 to 1.
But my point is this: if they play one fewer game, they play one fewer game by winning to get the number 1 seed. That's huge. The Chiefs aren't going to roll through the playoffs having to beat a bunch of teams with that defense and traveling on the road. Is my point.
Hey, Debo, scroll down a little bit. Again, you can watch this on youtube.com/pick6 and hit that show all. Man, I'll tell you what, this is sort of this idea has been percolating in my head all day. After the percolating in my head. After the Cowboys at 13 to 1.
Juicy indeed.
The Chargers at 20 to 1 would be interesting.
I don't want to sound crazy, but there's a team that is currently 4-2 that's 100 to 1.
I know. I thought Brinson was going to make a joke about that team, but you.
No, I was just saying, go back up top, and I just want to I think that there's kind of a cliff here, where
that team is the
after the Cowboys, and the odds suggest that there's a cliff because it goes from 13 to 20. Would you want? I mean, the Chargers are the only team in this range. I mean, look how fast this drops off. Saints are 40, Niners are 50. Vikings 60, Raiders 60, Steelers 80. I don't trust either of those teams to win a Super Bowl.
Why are the 49ers and the Steelers even up there?
My point is that if we're looking to bet on the Super Bowl, on a Super Bowl future at some point in the near future, that the odds are kind of condensing around these top tier teams. And I sort of wonder if maybe there isn't a group of teams in each conference that are kind of pulling away from the crowd.
Well, the other part of this is that there's, if you look at the teams that are 25-1 and less, there's only 11 of them. So that means 3 teams in that way lower tier are going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
So that's the key, is kind of figure out what those 3 teams, because, if you find one of those 100-1 teams, it doesn't have to be the Bengals, but based on how these odds are set up, they're at least going to get in the playoffs. And once that happens, your bet is, you feel a lot better about it.
Yeah. And there are some sites that you can, for instance, like sportsbook.ag, hypothetically, you can place a bet and then cash out later if the odds get better. So you can actually, and I think there are various sites to do that. The point being is, it's not they have to win the Super Bowl for me to make money. You can make the bet and then cash out if you are correct about how the market will react to this team winning games. It's like if you think the Bengals will win a few more games in the next couple of weeks, you bet them 100-1, they get out of 25-1, and suddenly you just cash out and call it a day. Breech wouldn't. He'd ride it until they lose in the first round of the playoffs, but
He'd double down.
And it would be a great ride, Brinson.
Sure it would.
It would be a great ride.
Hey, believe me, as a multi-time holder of NC State national championship tickets, I understand what you're going through. Okay, any other thoughts on this game? Awesome game. Another primetime thriller.
I got a fun fact I forgot to bring up.
What?
Stephon Diggs scored a touchdown in this game.
That is fun.
And you know who else scored a touchdown this weekend? Trayvon Diggs, meaning the first time since 2009 that 2 brothers have one scored an offensive touchdown, one scored a defensive touchdown in the same week of an NFL season.
I have another fun fact. Stephon Diggs' touchdown on Monday night actually tied his brother Trevon Diggs for having 2 touchdowns this season.
Ooh.
Trevon has 2 pick sixes.
Do you know who the brothers were that did it in 2009?
Tiki Barber and Rondy Barber.
That is incorrect, but a good guess.
Whoa, that's a great guess. How is that not right? Hold on.
Yeah,
Not
2009?
right. 2009.
They play in the same conference.
How's it not Tiki Rondé?
Not Tiki and Rondé.
Love Tiki, friend of the. Is he friend? Tiki's a Tiki on the
He's a friend of CBS.
Tiki's my boy. I love Tiki.
Give us a hint. Give us
Give us a hint on a team.
One team.
Nine.
I'll give you the.
If you know the chat, write it in the chat, and we'll post it if you're right before we say it.
I'll give you the team of the guy who scored the defensive TD, and it was the Miami Dolphins.
2009 Miami Dolphins.
If I gave you the offensive guy, I think you would get it.
So 2009 Miami Dolphins. That was the year after they won the division. With Ronnie Brown was like their quarterback at that point. He was just running the Wildcat.
So this is post Saban.
Yeah. That was 06.
It was.
Do you want another hint that you'll get it?
I don't know who it is.
Yeah, sure.
The guy who scored the defensive TD actually played for the Buffalo Bills eventually and retired at halftime.
This halftime?
No, at halftime when he retired in 2018.
Oh,
Devontae Davis?
Yeah.
Was it Devontae
Devontae and Vernon.
I was like, are they brothers? Oh God.
Yeah, they're 100% brothers. Yeah.
I
thought you
they
were
brothers.
tonight.
I wouldn't have gotten that then. I don't think I realized they were brothers somehow.
Oh yeah, they're brothers.
They're never like seen together.
That fun fact was from NFL Research.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're not seen together because they played in different cities, I guess.
I always feel like you see Tiki and Rondé together.
Well, they look alike, so you're like, oh,
yeah, maybe that's it.
They're twins. We get it.
That's why I panicked when I was like, oh, that's it.
Love it.
Is it Vernon? Another guy named Davis? They don't look alike.
What was he went to Illinois. What was his name again? The defensive player. What was his first name?
Fonte.
Fonte.
If you retire at halftime, it's very obvious.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Man, love Vernon Davis.
Yeah, I can't believe Rondé and Tiki weren't in the mix. All right, well, fun.
Who's
indeed.
Anyway? Yeah. By the way, hat giveaway. Brinson Sucks hat. We have a winner.
We have a winner.
Do you want to announce it, Debo?
No, you got this. This is
no, you go ahead.
You're the namesake of the hat. It's not a Debo Sucks hat. I mean, that wouldn't be made. But
please tell me the winner is Vontae Davis.
Also, Darren Smith out in San Diego radio wants one to walk around San Diego in.
I think we're gonna have to mass produce these things.
Well, let's put it in the store. What was the impetus for the hat? Was it like my wife said Brinson sucks?
I can't even remember. I have to look at Lewis's DMs.
That's pretty much the essence of it.
I
Oh,
said
okay.
that on the podcast with Brady, and Brady's like, "You might want to rethink how you said that." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" My wife thinks I'm Ms. She says Brinson sucks. So I don't know what to tell you, bro. Anyway,
All right.
the winner. Oh, right, the winner. You have a drum roll sound drop queued up or anything?
No.
The winner of the Brinson Sucks hat, Tommy Slayton. Congratulations. You've won our second Brinson Sucks hat. This is so ridiculous. I thought it was like a private.
Congratulations, Tommy.
All right, Tommy. Congrats. Debo will hit up Debo on the DMs or however you do it. Or you leave your Twitter handle, make sure it's in there, and Debo will make sure you get that hat to you. We may have to hit up Lewis and see if he can produce a few more Brinsons. I mean, I'm all for millions of or thousands, hundreds, tens of Brinson Sucks hats running around this great nation. Right?
Yeah, I want to clarify a few things. Everybody was eligible for this. I don't discriminate if you didn't have a Twitter or an Instagram. I'm going to get your name. I put it in a random name generator, and I will promise Tommy that my hat arrives before Brinson sends his hat to our last night winner, Lucas.
Now, in full disclosure, I have not received any information about how to send this to Lucas.
No, you have not. 24 hours.
You can't like sprint out, send it to Tommy. Be like, Brinson hadn't sent his either because I haven't got the information.
I have not gotten Tommy's information yet. We'll set it at the same time.
But if that's the case,
AM.
yes, yours will certainly arrive before mine. Almost certainly. All right. That's a show. We are going to do a little bit of unbeknownst to Wilson and Breech, a little bit of overtime. So if you're watching on YouTube, we will end the podcast, but we will answer questions that you have about the NFL, life, hats, whatever you want on.
Since we didn't get overtime in the game.
That's right. We should have got.
We're not going for it on 4th and 1. We're kicking the field goal here.
How dare you, Sean McDermott, robbing us at overtime? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you after the show. All right, so, oh yeah, look at all those picks.
That's from 29. We've had these hats for 2 years almost.
Yeah, because so the Brinson Sucks hats. So I met Lewis in Vegas when we went. Me, Pete, and Costos went to do the super contest, and we and Lewis and I got beers. That was yeah. So we had these. This is the third year because 2019. He sent him in 2019, but I met him before the 2019 season. So 2019, 2020, 2021, 3 years of Brinson Sucks.
That's a lot of years of Brinson sucking.
I almost somehow worked, man, because I was thinking of like, what other popular hats with slogans on them in recent years. But then I thought that make Brinson suck again would not be a very
The fancy.
correct.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I look exactly the same, I think, there than I did in 2019. Maybe. Ooh. Tara Darrell asked, is Derrick Henry at least offensive player of the year? Yes. Derrick Henry can win MVP. I wouldn't bet it at 25-1.
Who's the last one? AP?
Yep.
Last
AP, and then before AP, it was
Sean Alexander.
Sean Alexander and LT. So
I mean, and Derrick Henry won Offensive Player of the Year last year. If he hits 2,000 yards, they're going to give him some sort of award. I don't think they're going to give both awards to a quarterback, both the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year.
No, excuse me. If the Titans somehow ended up winning the division and getting the 1 or maybe 2 seed, and Derrick Henry ran for 2,500 yards or something, remember, 17-game season now. So he's going to get probably, unless they're just 10 games ahead of the Colts, you would assume they'll rest him if they're ahead, but he's likely to get an extra game's worth of carries if he just obliterates the record and Kyler sort of comes back to the pack. The problem for him is in the MVP race is Dak's not going anywhere unless he gets hurt. Josh Allen, who I know lost to Derrick Henry in the other team, but like Josh Allen's going to be good. Patrick Mahomes is going to put up a bunch of numbers. Matt Stafford. There's too many quarterbacks, I think, playing well for Derrick Henry to overcome that and win MVP.
Agreed.
Yep.
You can read this one, Breech.
Ooh, this is a great question from Thomas. If you could repaint the uprights to be any color, what would you pick? You know what I would pick? I would actually want to add some spice to field goal kicking. I want the uprights to be colored camouflage. And so you get out further, you can barely see them. And I want the camouflage to be like the team colors so that kind of blends in with the fans in the background. And then the kickers can barely see the uprights. I think that would cause some serious chaos, and we would all love it.
You know what's interesting? Someone sent our buddy Kevin Clark this, and he put it on Twitter last week, maybe the week before. I actually love this idea. What if you're, as the home team, you can decide how wide or narrow the uprights can be?
I like that.
So if you have Justin Tucker, you make the uprights 5 yards wide, and then the other kicker's Randy Bullock, and you're just crushing it. Or if you're the Tennessee Titans, or who's a team whose field goal kickers, or if you're Mike Zimmer, Minnesota Vikings, you can make your goalpost literally as wide as the length of the end zone line,
alternately you mash them together so no one can kick, and so you nullify your kicker. You
take away Justin Tucker.
Exactly. You're playing the Vikings. You're like, nope, no field goals, buddy.
Ooh.
Everyone's got to go for 2. Everyone's got to go on 4th down.
I'd love that a lot. Like I would love to see how that plays out, because I think if you're John Harbaugh, you have it really narrow. If you're Mike Zimmer, you have them disappear. Makes your life easy. Just go for it on 4th down. Oh, I love it. What do you think of that, Breech?
I mean, it would add some serious analytics to kicking, because you would see coaches charting where the balls are going through the uprights. And that doesn't necessarily, just because Justin Tucker is the best kicker, that doesn't mean all his kicks go down the middle better than, the second most accurate kicker.
But if you're John Harbaugh and you know that, you can move. If you want to set the goalposts 10 yards from the end line, but the same width of the goalpost because you think Justin Tucker can make those, you can do that too.
I mean, they had skinny uprights in arena football. I don't know that I think only a few teams would actually make their uprights skinnier.
Yeah,
once the kicker starts missing, then.
But if you're Mike Zimmer,
anymore.
how wide how wide is it? 12 yards? How wide are the uprights?
You're making it 53 1/3 yards wide, which is the width of the field. That's
how wide are the hash marks apart? Is that 12 yards?
I think so.
Yeah, if you're Mike Zimmer, how are you literally going the length of the end zone?
Yeah. You're going the whole 50.
What do you do when Greg Joseph kicks one sideways out of bounds for a throw in?
If you went full length of the end zone, wouldn't somebody be able to drop kick it pretty easily for
Yeah. I mean, Kirby Cousins could probably do it.
Pure chaos.
I love that idea. That's one of the best sort of rules changes that would be awesome, but will never happen.
The official color of field goal posts is sulfur yellow. In case you want to get that at home and like paint your house sulfur yellow, that's the color you want to go to Home Depot and ask for.
Any more questions in the chat? Yep. When does Wilson? Oh, Brendan Buchanan will say, when does Wilson get his guest spot on the gambling show? Actually, we are in contractual negotiations to have my crap picks replaced with Wilson's unbelievable picks.
So, Breech, how did Brinson finish this week?
Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm not looking.
Are we allowed to say it in overtime?
No.
We're not on the podcast anymore.
No, it's terrible.
Well, I'll tell you what I did.
4-10-1 or something.
Not even that good. And I'm not kidding.
I believe it. No, look, every favorite covered. And I took I said going into the week that I thought it was going to be chaos and there were going to be upsets. And I'm taking the dogs, and every favorite, except for the ones I took, covered.
So here's all I'll say. Dubin finished 4-10, and that was not last place.
I had a terrible week. What do you want to know? I mean,
I went 7-7, and 2 of the losses are because I talked myself into listening to you numbnuts, and that's on me. I take full responsibility. I changed the Steelers and I changed the Raiders, and I lost both those games, and deservedly so. So Pete actually went 9-5 this week for the best record.
I tied Wilson.
I would just say, if you're looking at some of these games, one, the Bears and Packers game flipped, right?
That happens every week, though.
I know. I'm just saying that there were a lot of games that. I don't know if there were a lot of games. So Eagles and Bucks. And I won that one somehow. That flipped at the last second. Jaguars were probably good.
Well, let me just say real quick. Brinson actually started the week 2-0.
2-0
because he got the Thursday night game.
What do you think I'm thinking? They're like 1:00 on Sunday. Like, yeah,
and then he got the London game. So rolling into the 1 p.m. games, he was 2-0.
What happened in the next 12 games?
The wheels fell off the wagon. Somebody put dynamite in the wagon.
I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that. So the Lions never had a chance. Bengals blew them out. That game wasn't covering.
That was the only one I regret.
I didn't get that one.
The Bears the Bears probably should have covered.
But
They were
didn't.
right
Okay.
there within the whole time. And look, the games happen. That happens in the NFL. The Colts.
I talked you guys on to the Colts. That's on me. Onto the Texans.
Yep, never had a chance. You can't cover 11 points. God Almighty.
It was 9.5.
Washington, 9.5 for our state. Washington was plus 6.5 and was leading at halftime against the Chiefs, and that
I just felt like at some point Mahomes was going to break out of it.
Yep. Baltimore, LA. I took the Chargers because it was like two good teams.
Everyone at CBS took the Chargers.
In hindsight, and I said this last night or on Sunday night in the recap, the Ravens, the way they run the football and the way that the Chargers play defense, it's set up poorly for them, and it played out exactly like that.
I mean, that's true, but to extent. But like I felt the same way about how the game might play out, but I saw it play out last week against the Browns, where the Browns ran up and down the field because the Chargers couldn't stop the run, but the Chargers still won because they couldn't stop the Chargers. And I didn't think the Ravens were going to be able to, because the Ravens didn't have a defense that had proven they could slow a team down like that.
Marlon Humphrey played awesome, and there was regression on fourth down conversions.
No, I agree with Breech.
Giants plus 10.5. Not even close.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is banged up, and he had 4 turnovers. Not all his fault.
Stafford lit him up. They wasn't close.
Yeah.
The Panthers minus 1.5.
Panthers should have covered. They didn't.
Panthers should have covered and won that game. Browns minus 2.5. Not close. Now, again, once we got to, I'm not should have covered. I'm just saying that like these games are like, if you have
Caleb,
to
you're exactly right. As is Tom.
I'm trying to say I'm not trying to justify any picks. I'm trying to walk through.
Thank you, Fernando.
The Browns, when I saw Conklin and Jedrick Wills out, I was like, I've made a horrible decision, and felt like, but it's too late to change your picks there. Pats plus 4.5. That's a bad beat.
Dallas walk-off, yeah.
Denver minus 3.5. That was a wrong look. The Raiders.
Yeah, I changed that one listening to you buttholes. Okay.
And then
Pittsburgh. Oh, that one really made me angry.
I mean, they were up 14-0 at half. It felt like they were going to steamroll that game.
I didn't. I had no point. That's on me. I own it, but I'm angry about it. The Titans, I thought were going to get their doors blown off.
So like every damn dog. Oh my God. I just picked just a bad week. It's look, I'm not happy about it. It's going to cost me a chance to make a run at the my picks pool here. Oh, I'm not anywhere. Oh no, not anywhere near the top.
I can't imagine.
Wilson, you are still at the top of pick watch despite your 7-7 week.
I'm done. I'm gonna play it gut from here on out. I'm not gonna do any more.
You're gonna listen to us?
Yeah. Why would you listen to anybody else? You're the hot one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna play my gut. That's what I'm doing. And Breech is in first place and straight up. That's usually your bread and butter, Brinson.
It's my bread and butter.
A bad 3 weeks. Gotta get out of the slump. Gotta get hot and try and.
All right. So will you finish ahead of either me or Breech straight up or against the spread?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
You have 11 weeks to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think you have a better chance of running down? Me, who you're 6 games behind, or Wilson,
6 games behind,
who you are 23 games behind? 6 weeks into the season.
I will catch you both.
All right.
Or else
you are not catching Wilson.
I will shave
your back.
My back. That's what I was going to say.
I know.
Each other's Wilson.
Oh, my God.
Napa 2323 asks, will Trayvon Diggs top? Oh boy, I got scared there for a second. Dick Night Train Lane's 14-pick interception record from a 12-game season. I will say no.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say he does it next week. No, that's incredibly difficult. The fact that he has 7 is like
through
he's
6
already
games
going.
is wild.
He's going to the Pro Bowl. That's a lock. He may go to the Pro Bowl next year for what he's done this year, but I don't know what the solution is in terms of just don't throw the ball at him at all. But he was a 2nd-round pick last year. I thought that Patrick Surtain was better than he was coming out, and Trayvon Diggs is awesome. I think the other takeaway, and Mike Renner PFF tweeted this out talking about Max Crosby, because when Max Crosby came out, he wasn't as big as he is now, and he got pushed around a lot. And I said, he doesn't look great. He got stronger, he got better, and he's like one of the best players in the NFL. And I think we have to remember that with these young guys. Like, so Trayvon Diggs made a huge leap from year 1 to year 2. Is he perfect? No, but he's making a bunch of plays, and he's got somehow 7 interceptions, which is bonkers. But I don't think he is the 14.
It is amazing that record, Dick Night Train Lane's record, has stood for over 60 years since 1952.
12-game records are still standing.
Who has the most interceptions in a season other than after? Who's number 2? I guess
in the Super Bowl era, the record is Lester Hayes with the Raiders.
Oh.
13 interceptions.
Oh, he had 13. That must have been in the 70s or early 80s.
1980.
Oh, there you go.
So I have a question for you guys. This is from
Ooh.
A. Brown. Where did I eat? It caused me to get food poisoning before the Bills game.
Did he go to that place that Breech took Rachel for their honeymoon?
No.
That little
Did he-
small
did he
place?
go to the
It's a
place
chain.
that-
It's a chain. It's a popular chain.
Did he go to the place that Jackson Carmen went to in Detroit?
Where'd
I don't know
Jackson
what that-
Carmen go?
The Bengals guy, his Bengals offensive lineman got sick, and he
I
blamed it
know.
on Eminem's restaurant.
What's M&M's?
Eminem has a restaurant. Eminem the rapper.
Oh, I thought you meant like the candy. Oh, Marshall Mathers restaurant. Gotcha.
He said he ordered mom's spaghetti.
Oh, you know
Okay.
Eminem is Marshall Mathers. Eminem, right?
I get it. Yeah, I thought I was confused. I forgot the Detroit connection.
Where do
So,
you think AJ
is it-
Brown ate?
is it at
Yes.
Hattie Mays? Hattie
No. It's a national chain.
Chick-fil-A.
Wendy's. Is it fast food?
Sort of.
Panera.
Closer.
Oh, what's the other one like Panera? Chipotle?
Chipotle.
Chipotle. In fact, he said after the game, I believe his quote was, somebody's like, where did you eat that gave you food poisoning? He's like, Chipotle. I got some bad Chipotle. I'm sorry, Chipotle. I'm probably not getting an endorsement from Chipotle.
Dude, there are a few things worse than being like food poisoned.
Well, one of them is being food poisoned with some bad Chipotle because
My buddy had a bachelor party. It's been 15 years, maybe longer now, in Boston. And I lived in Pittsburgh time, flew in, and I ate lunch with my other friend who picked me up at the airport and had like a turkey sandwich at a bar that the turkey probably been sitting out for 3 days. And, we went to the Red Sox game during the day, drank some beers, but I had probably 3 beers all day. 8 hours later, which is usually the incubation period, it was a bad scene. And there's nothing you can do. And the worst thing is, like, you're not out in the country where you can just go into a field and feel terrible. You're in the city and you have to sort of figure it out. So credit to AJ Brown for not only not pooping in his pants or throwing up all over himself, but actually making, I think, 7 catches in the second half.
That's literally a South Park episode. All right, last one. We'll get out of here. Who's the Saints? DM Gilmore 78 asks, who's the Saints quarterback next year?
So we talked yesterday about the available possible free agents: Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Russ Wilson. Did Russ put New Orleans on his list, Breech?
He had the Cowboys, the Raiders.
Yes.
Did he?
And the Saints. I would take Russ Wilson over
Cowboys,
anyone.
Raiders, Bears, and Saints, I believe.
Oh, right, the Bears. That's crazy. I would take Russ Wilson over anyone you would draft or whatever. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but I don't think he's going to go to New Orleans. He may. I don't know. So if I had to make the odds, is Russ the front runner or no? Or because Jameis is still on a 1-year deal. Is that correct? I think he is.
Yes.
Yeah. More likely to be quarterback next year in New Orleans, Russ or Jameis?
Jameis.
Russell.
Yeah,
Because I think the Seahawks are not going to be good this year, and that's going to be his. Like if they get to the playoffs, they can placate him. He'll be happy. Maybe talking another year. But if they're 7-10 and not in the playoffs, I don't see how they're going to keep him happy.
Yeah, hopefully the biggest competition for Russ is New Orleans will be the Steelers. That's my hope.
Ooh.
I don't think the Seahawks would want to trade him to New Orleans, man.
But it sounded like he was. I don't know how far he was out the door this summer, but it sounded like
He was
things
pretty
weren't
far
great.
out. Sounded like he had a 1.5 feet out the door.
Things weren't great. So I don't know what's their leverage.
Trade everything.
I mean, I think you
Michael
they're
Thomas.
going to
to
get
the
a ton of
Seahawks.
picks back, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
a ton of picks.
What about Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he ends up in New Orleans?
I don't know
I think he's
what
going
is.
to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But you know what? Who did they play last week? They played the Bears. He talked about how much he loved Bears fans too. So he just butters up everybody.
No, but he also said, I will never play here, ever.
That's true.
And then he said, I own you. I still own you. I still own you.
And Matt Nagy wasn't making googly eyes like Mike Tomlin was.
Yeah. And the Steelers look like a team where if you were Aaron Rodgers on that team, the Steelers are good.
Yes. The current situation is not good.
Yes. The Saints are probably the Super Bowl favorites if they have Aaron Rodgers.
Are they better than Tampa? Their defense is good.
Yeah,
Defense is better than
also
Tampa's
good.
defense.
Rodgers and Brady dueling it out for like the next 3 years in the NFC South.
I mean,
That
that
would be
team
nuts.
with Aaron Rodgers is better than the Packers with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, would there be a better quarterback division if you're thinking about like 4 Mount Rushmore guys and Rodgers, Brady, Darnold, and Matt Ryan?
Okay, glad you laughed. Matt Ryan won't be there next year, I would imagine. So I don't know who that. It'll be whoever that'll be, and then obviously it's the.
I think Peyton will try and sort of, and maybe the Jameis thing was partly like he knew that the Russ stuff was out there. He knew the Rodgers stuff was out there because look, the Packers won't want to trade Rodgers in the NFC, obviously, but if the Saints give them the best offer, and they're the team,
What about
they
this
have
dark
to
horse? What about this dark horse candidate for
Not the Bengals.
for New Orleans? What about Jimmy G?
Eastern Illinois crew assemble.
What if Jimmy G gets traded? to the
Jimmy
next-
G went to the same college as Sean Payton, right?
And Tony Romo. I do know
That's right.
We all know that.
that. Hey, what happened, Breech?
Oh, what if Jimmy G gets traded in the next few weeks? What if Kyle Shanahan just gives up on loses to the Colts this Sunday? Shanahan just says, "My God, we're just going to Trey Lance as soon as he's healthy."
I hope he made the right decision because Trey Lance.
Okay, stop it. Do not bring up Trey Lance. We'll wait till they're on the bye. Leave me alone.
Jeez. All right.
Any more questions?
Mm-mm.
I got to go write my picks. I don't know who I'm picking this week.
Just wait till tomorrow.
Crappy picks this week.
That's the
Yeah, way to go, Tommy Slayton, for winning the second Brinson Sucks hat.
Brinson should have to wear the Brinson Sucks hat, and it should say Brinson Sucks hat
Heyo.
against the spread picks.
Can't find it.
Hold on. No, I got. Hold on.
Fit on his big fat head.
All right. Is he ending this podcast? That would just happen.
He's got to get his hat because you suggested it.
My God.
There it is. Now we need someone. Debo, can we enlist? Do we know any musicians that can write up maybe like Chris Towers? Can you write a Brinson Sucks song?
The I suck at.
There it is.
Wow.
Sucks.
There it is. Not as
never
cool because it says "I suck" on it.
Have you worn that before?
No, it has a sticker on it.
Oh,
Why would I
he
wear a
sucks,
hat that says "I suck" on it?
He wears Chucks. Oh yeah, Brinson sucks.
Why
that's
would
my
you wear a
theme
hat
song.
that says "I suck" on it? Because you went 2-12 against the spread. That's why you wear it.
I'll wear it. I'll wear it for the rest.
What if that was the punishment each week? Whoever does the worst, we all had one of those hats that say "I suck." We have to wear it around.
I'm wearing this for the Thursday preview shit. That's for
Oh
sure.
my God, it's like the dunce hat.
It is a dunce hat.
Yeah, it says "I suck" on it. It says "I suck."
We need to text Luke, text Lewis, and tell him that we've, his hats have made a comeback. More popular.
Come back. They're launching into they're like the new apparel.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's been preoccupied. He hasn't.
Nothing
one.
better than the idea of just hundreds of people walking around America wearing Brinson Sucks hats. How often, like, how many times do you have to wear that before somebody stopped you? Is like, is that a CB? Like how many? I mean,
There are some Brinsons out there too. You don't want to be the guy that's walking around and you meet someone.
You know, when you walk around Eastern North Carolina with a Brinson Sucks hat on, you just get shot.
So yeah, there's that to take into consideration.
Indeed. All right.
Breech
Let's wrap it up, B. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Congrats again to Tommy for winning the hat. There's only one I Suck hat. Maybe I'll autograph the I Suck hat and somebody can come get this thing. We'll have giveaways in the future as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.